Guys, this video is sponsored by Private Internet Access. With over 30 million downloads and more than 10 years of VPN experience, Private Internet Access is the world's most transparent VPN provider. They never record or store user data, and their no-logs policy has been proven multiple times in court because Private Internet Access changes your IP address and reroutes your internet traffic through an encrypted tunnel. Your online activity from your internet service provider, network administrator, or government censors is hidden. You can use one Private Internet Access subscription to protect up to 10 devices all at the same time. Most other VPNs support fewer connections, so you get a lot more bang for your buck. They work with all major streaming services, so you have unrestricted access to all your favorite content anywhere in the world. Plus, it's one of the very few VPNs that fully supports P2P file sharing and torrenting. Signing up for Private Internet Access is risk-free with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Get complete digital privacy today for less than $2 a month and 4 extra months for free by going to privateinternetaccess.com/Chael Sonnen. My official prediction: Ciryl Gane versus Francis Ngannou. Guys, what a tough one, Francis Ngannou. How do you like that? Francis Ngannou is going to win this fight, and I'll tell you why. Two kickboxers, right? Got to know what you're getting into here, because this one is pretty basic and by the numbers. Like, there are some things that you can stereotype. When you have a big guy, he's a power hitter, he needs less punches. But when he's taking on a smaller guy, that guy moves very well and he's harder to touch. We understand that because that's logic and we get it. The power between these two men is not equal. And so many people will talk about that going into the fight. He can hit harder than him. That doesn't really have anything to do with it. Who can land the punch? And that's why you're always better with a smaller guy. In boxing, aside from Tyson Fury, the heavyweight champion of the world has always been a much smaller guy. He does not hit as hard, but he doesn't get hit as often. His conditioning and endurance is just a little bit better. Now, I know I'm saying things that are favoring Ciryl, but hear me out, because kickboxing has one huge problem. Kickboxing does not favor, encourage, or work on head movement. You are not dealing with the same thing when you hear you got a kickboxer versus a boxer. A boxer will move the hell out of the way so he doesn't get hit. A kickboxer will stand right in practice. In boxing, you're learning to slip, you're learning to cover, you're learning to return. In kickboxing, you take both gloves and you hold them in front of your face like a fool. And the guy will tee off on you and you'll have what's called a shield. And with those great big gloves, the guy's not going to penetrate it. You literally can stand there just like this with your hands up as a shield. Big old pillows on him. You got 32 ounces altogether blocking for you. I say that because the reason that kickboxers don't translate all that great into MMA, broad stroke right there, they do just fine. But the reason they don't translate, and you'll even see a world champion kickboxer come in and lose a striking battle within MMA, is because of the head movement. It's because of the 4-ounce gloves. Now, I'm digging deep here, but I am counting on Ciryl Gane not getting out of the way. Going to what he knows best, doing a cage, Francis getting right through that and crushing him. I do think that Ciryl is likely to look good for a period of time. Ciryl does a very good job of closing the distance, but he also does it with moving. He's going to have kicks and he's going to have combinations. He's going to stay out of the way. He's going to try to wear down Francis Ngannou, which is a great strategy. The more minutes you can keep any big guy moving and huffing and puffing is always very good to do. Francis is going to plot in there. When you're the biggest guy in the room, you don't have to back up from anything. You can go stand your ground, but now your game plan is very obvious. I'm waiting to see some kind of an opening. I'm coming with a knockout shot. Ciryl will know fully what he's getting into, but so will Francis. There was a time in kickboxing, guys. I love kickboxing, by the way. I have studied kickboxing for a meaningful period of time, but in fairness to the history of the sport of kickboxing, there was a time boxers stepped in with no kickboxing training and they started beating all the kickboxers. Started taking all their belts, all their prizes, and all their money. The reason the boxers could do that is because your hands are much more important than your feet in a striking battle. So the sport of kickboxing, these boxers would go in, they'd throw absolutely no kicks. But the hands were more important. Now the other guy's trying to kick you, which means he's standing on one foot, step in and put him down. Tim Sylvia, Rico Rodriguez, possibly the finest example of that. The guy throwing there's times you throw kicks, and it's always at the end of a combination. You hide, you block, then you come in with the kick. But it's always at the end, you don't start a combination with a kick. Why? Because now you're standing on one foot. You have nowhere you can go. And I only submit that for you because what kickboxing had to do, and this was in the late 80s, but they had to come in and make a new rule that you must throw 3 significant kicks per round or you lose a point. So we proved that kicking is so much less effective than punching that the sport had to come in and make a rule that you must do it because guys were electing not to. And I do bring that to you because that's going to create some real opportunities for Francis. I do not think Francis is going to look like the better striker. I think he's going to look like a big, powerful guy. I think Ciryl's going to move around him on a little bit. But when I do see Ciryl doing that, and I do see Ciryl's hands coming down and his chin coming up, he has never paid for it yet. But the guys that can strike as well as him on paper, you've got Rosenstrike, by example. You've got Derek Lewis, by example. The guys that aren't able to get to Ciryl and make him pay are the great big guys that are too goddamn slow. I think Rosenstrike's strike game is every bit as good as Ciryl's. I think Rosenstrike's as good as anybody in the entire organization, but he needs the right opponent. He needs the right setups because he's a very big man. And the same thing goes for Derek Lewis. Derek will put your lights out, and that includes Ciryl's. Black Beast will put Ciryl down and leave Houston a hero if he was a little bit quicker. So I think that it's one of those things that Ciryl's defense is not perfect, but he's able to get away with it because of some of his athletic abilities. And guys, I'm critiquing hard right now. I have thought Ciryl was going to win this fight. I'm now on Francis. In all fairness, these are not huge detriments, but everybody's got a puncher's chance. That old expression said by a lazy guy that just wants to hedge his bet because he didn't have the balls to step out there and say something is very true when you're taking on Francis Ngannou, who scientifically speaking hits harder than anybody in the sport. You guys remember that? Was that show called Sports Science? But it was like that thing that they put at the county fair and you come up and punch it, but it'll measure how hard you're hitting and nobody outdid Francis. It's one of those things where you have to respect that. And even if Francis throws some heat at him, Francis's only problem is going to be if Francis is gun shy, like he was against Derek Lewis. If Francis goes out and does not hit Ciryl Gane, but he throws that heat, he can get respect anyway. It's not the same level of respect as you touch somebody. But when you get one that slips right past you and you know what was on that, psychologically he can get those same benefits. One thing that I think Francis is going to do, I don't think Francis is going to take Ciryl down. I think he's going to threaten to take him down. And that's another thing that Ciryl has never had to deal with. People love to say Ciryl's never been taken down. That's true. He's never fought a wrestler. I get that Francis is not. But every fight that Ciryl went into, he knew the unwritten contract and agreement with every single opponent, including JDS. Right? Don't forget how good Junior is with the hands. He knew going in, I just got to go out and kickbox, and I'm a much more decorated kickboxer, make it a kickboxing fight, take MMA the hell out of it. And he never had a partner that wanted to flip the script. Francis has been working on his wrestling. I don't think Francis can take him down, and I don't know for sure that he's going to try. He needs to. He needs to throw punches at him, even ones that miss. He needs to get that respect and do what we call keep him honest. But he also needs to lock him. He needs to push him. He needs to go for those legs just once or twice. Make Ciryl know this isn't the same guy you sparred with in a slow light session sparring class in 2019. I am somebody else now. If Francis does those things, his opportunities go up. One thing that Ciryl has going for him is Francis is terrifying. I don't think I can use that word about very many men. And even if I could use it, I got too much pride, I wouldn't use it. Francis goes into the scary column. Can we agree on that? And one thing that makes a guy so scary is when he's mysterious. When you start to hear these rumors, he eats nothing but raw meat all day long. I had to grow up with this. This big, strong guy had to deal with from another school, and the rumors, all he eats is raw meat 3 times a day. Steve Mocco was a great wrestler, and there were stories going around that he never walked in his house. His house was only bars. He swung. That's why he was so strong. But the whole country believed this. And if you can keep Francis mysterious, you can keep the mystique going, which shuts guys down. I do think the fact that they know each other, the fact that they've worked out, the fact that they have similar friends, at least even a similar coach, I think that that is very good for Ciryl. I think that the mask is off. But so many athletes, when they want to go out there and look as though they're comfortable in a situation they're scared in, their body will then start showing comforts, right? If you ever see a guy yawn prior to a match, that's the guy trying to calm his body. That's a guy who is scared but doesn't want to be scared. Oh, he's trying to show everybody, oh, he's hardly even paying attention. It's just as comfortable as if he was in bed at night. Never good if you see an athlete yawn right before a match, but it's very common to see. Very, very common to see where a guy is losing control of his nerves and his body's trying to catch up where his mind wants to be. And I've seen so many guys, when they're scared, go out there and do the fancy hands thing. Put their hands down, drop a hand, try to throw a cool kick. That will get you knocked out. That will make you live with a life of regret. And there's a couple of exceptions. Floyd Mayweather, Roy Jones, Anderson Silva. All got away with it until he didn't. If you ever break the golden rule, which is chin down and hands up, you are not going to be the heavyweight champion of the world. I cannot guarantee you that Ciryl is going to break that rule. How would I know? But I am hedging my bet on the side that he will fall into the same trap of everybody else to some degree. And if he puts those hands down, he cannot take a punch by Francis. It does not matter if Ciryl had 30 professional kickboxing fights. Does not matter. That will never strengthen his chin, ever. Contrary to popular belief. The more you do something, the more technical, the better responses you'll have. Your neurosystem, you'll have a lot of things that increase how well you do at that, but you will never be able to take a better shot. Doesn't matter if you had 0 days of training or 20 years of training. Your chin does not get better with experience. I'm submitting that for you because I don't know for sure that Francis can ever touch him. Ciryl is very quick. And the later the fight goes, that power of Francis is going to go down. I fully acknowledge that. But if, and it's an if, Ciryl shows him that chin and Francis hits it what? Make no mistake. Francis will knock him out.